Hello, hello. Hi, Dream Builders. Welcome to week 2 of the Small Business Intensive. I know that you all are just seeing me go live, so I'm going to hang out for a little bit while you all come into the room and we get to know each other, okay? So I'm going to play a little bit of music. Hopefully, you can hear me. I'm not very good at this, and I'm technologically challenged, which is even worse. So bear with me. It sounds like I can't hear my own sound. I'm gonna pull this out. I just pulled out my mic, so I hope you guys can hear me. Oop. I hope that you all can see me. I hope that I'm not, I hope I'm doing this right. You all have to bear with me because I am so technologically challenged. It is not even, it's not even a game. All right. So I've got myself here. I can see that I'm live. I can see that you guys are coming in. I hope that you can hear me. If you can, you can. Okay, perfect. I'm seeing people pop in. Hi guys. I unplugged my microphone because I couldn't hear myself. So I'm hoping that I come through clear. You are listening to a boss in the background because I like theme music. Technology is not my forte. Hi, Erica. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Anita, Lucretia, Alexis in NYC. Hi, hey, girl, hey. I'm getting my technological life together. Baby and I are great, super dehydrated. So you're going to see me drinking throughout this entire broadcast. Um, my doctor has prescribed extra, extra, extra water. So if I'm drinking, I apologize. And if I freeze, sorry. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a minute to get in because I know you're like me. I'm not so good with technology. I try my best. P.S. Again, this song is called Entrepreneur because I need to set the mood for you guys tonight. All right. So that's the end of the music. That's the end of the boss. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Crystal. Thank you for joining me on week 2's recap of the Small Business Intensive. Some of you ladies joined me in the middle of the week when you guys were confused, and I popped into the Live Richer group to talk to you guys about EINs and sales tax and all that good stuff because I didn't want you guys to get lost and I didn't want you to be discouraged. So I know I answered a lot of questions midweek. I'm not expecting a whole bunch of questions tonight because of the midweek session. Um, but I know you guys will have questions. How many months, Alexis? It's been 4 long months and change. I feel like it's forever though. All right, so let's go through a little bit of recap of what we did this week in week 2. All right, so on day 10 was all about bookkeeping and financing because this is a really, really important part of the intensive. By the way, I know that you're going to have questions. Save your questions a little bit for me until I'm through with the week recap because that way everybody can get on the same page and we can all know what I'm talking about. If you have not yet started this intensive, or if you're not yet on the same days as everyone else, it's okay. Stay, hang out. We're going to chat anyway. And if you have any questions about the part that you are on, then ask your questions at that time, okay? So just hang out with me. Hang out with me and the baby. All right. So we talked about bookkeeping and financing on day 10. We wanted you to really lock down your accounting because a mistake that I find that a lot of new business owners make is that they worry about how they're going to make their money first, and then they worry about what happens to their money and the bookkeeping last. And that is a mistake because you've got to be able to set up your accounting system. And I see myself freezing. I hate when my internet decides to act wonky. You've got to set up your accounting system from the get-go because that way it's not something you're worrying about after the fact. And one of the good things about having a small business these days is that things are so much cheaper and easier than they were when I first started out many moons ago. So you have some options, and we gave you some options as to the software that you could potentially look at. One of the ones that I like a lot is Xero. It starts at $10, $9 a month. Wave was a free option that we gave you. And one of the questions that you guys asked during the week is, which software should I use? And the advice that I gave you is use the one that you like and that you're going to use. So try them out. You know, some of them have 30-day trials or 15-day trials. Try it out, see if you like it, see if it's something that you can use before you go ahead and, you know, keep paying. Because the last thing you want at the end of the year, I'm looking for my shoebox full of receipts. You know, you don't want to be going to your accountant, pulling out a box with your receipts and saying, oh, this is what I'm going to need you to file my taxes with these box of receipts. Okay, no bueno. We don't need you doing that. So we need you to get your finances together from the get-go. And then for some of you who are looking for financing to fund your business, we gave you some options as well. You know, you can start with just the money that you have saved up, which is what I tend to do these days because I start my businesses as lean as humanly possible. When I had my store, that business I financed through friends and family and through a loan, and that was $50,000 to get that business up. Oh my gosh, I say that number now and I'm like, what were you thinking, girlfriend? What were you thinking? So yeah, you could do through your savings, friends and family. Crowdsourcing is really big right now. GoFundMe is not just for helping people pay for their funeral expenses. I'm not the only one who's seen those. You know, you've seen those too. Peer-to-peer lending, which I love and make money off of, is a really good way. And then there's some other places like Cabbage and things like that. So we gave you some ways for you guys to kind of potentially fund your small business. That was on day 10. Day 11, what are we doing day 11? Day 11, we asked you, where does your business live? And I saw a lot of you guys having fun talking about your potential websites. So we talked about what a domain was. We talked about what a platform was for your website and some of the key things that you need to have on your website. Some of you guys were right to the gusto and registered your domain name. Your domain name is that thing that you put in www. This is my bomb website.com. We gave you a link to register your business for 99 cents. Okay, through GoDaddy if you chose to do 99 cents. I have not seen anything cheaper than 99 cents. If you find something cheaper, let me know because you guys know I'm cheap. I'm constantly registering websites. And then we talked to you a little bit about a website builder, including Wix and Squarespace and Shopify for those of you guys who have e-commerce sites. So those were some options that we gave you. And then we talked about my favorite love, my first love, Bay, aka WordPress, because all my sites these days run on WordPress, even if they're e-commerce sites, because WordPress is humongous and gives me so many options. And why do I have Facebook up? Somebody is pinging me on Facebook while I am live, and I can't find the window where it's at. So if you guys hear pings in the background from Facebook, sorry, I can't find what window it's in. Ooh, wait a minute, just found it. All right, so yeah, we talked about all that stuff. And then my love, which is selling on Amazon, because that's how I make a lot of money. I sell on Amazon. Amazon is not your own website. It is a platform that you can sell on, just like eBay is. So for some of you guys, you won't necessarily need a website per se. You can sell on these other platforms. And I do a lot of that in addition to having my own sites. So don't feel like you have your own site. It's just one of the calling cards these days that everyone looks for, right? When you talk to somebody and you're talking about their business, like, oh, girl, do you have a website I can look at? It's just the same as like business cards of the old day. Okay, on to day 12. Day 12, we talked about your customer avatar. And you guys were so quiet about this. I was a little bit wondering if you guys were confused about the customer avatar because no one said anything about it. So here's the thing about that. You have to know who you're targeting. Everything isn't for everyone. And if you're busy targeting everyone, casting this huge net, what happens is that you leave wide holes, and customers that would potentially be the ones that you should be targeting for your products don't even see it or don't pay attention because either your website isn't talking to them or your ad doesn't talk to them or whatever. You really have to narrow your focus and picture who your ideal client is. So here's an example that I want to use. Look around the Live Richer group. Who do you see in that group? Tiffany has really narrowed her avatar. And who do you see as the teachers? Her group tends to be women of color. Typically, she actually has a better narrow focus than I kind of know for her, but I'd say typically 30s to 40s or so are her core people. And that's who she targets. Now, is she going to turn away somebody who's in their 20s or in their 50s or 60s? No, she's not. You don't turn those people away, but your marketing, your language, your advertisements, your classes even, that's what her core focus is on, who her core customers are. And so you need to figure out who those core people are. I see myself freezing and it's driving me insane. I hate when that happens. All right. So your customer avatar. And we'll talk about that when we get to Q&A session. So on day number 13, I asked you guys to review your tasks and reflect because we're going pretty fast in this intensive. It's called an intensive for a reason, okay? And I really wanted you guys to take a moment to look back on, the legalities of setting up your business and paying your taxes and all those things that we had covered recently. And that's when I kind of popped in the group to talk to you guys because I felt like you were getting, a little bit lost, and I didn't want you guys to get lost. I really wanted you guys to, to really understand what was going on. I skipped days 8 and 9. You see how loopy I am? I started with day 10. See what happens? Day 14 was a relaxation day. That was today because you guys were talking and you guys need time to kind of absorb all the stuff. So let me go back to day 8, which was all the legalities of starting your business. And I gave you guys a small business administration, gave you guys all the structures. I gave you guys a handout, an ebook that really, I hoped explained to you guys what a sole proprietor was, a general partnership, an LLC, an S Corp or C Corp, all those things that you hear people kind of toss out there. How to legally set up your business, what a doing business as was. That's where you guys were really confused. I didn't even hear you guys talking about the Small Business Administration. It was like that part did not exist. Yes, Glendora, you ladies in your 50s and loving it, 50 and fabulous. You guys are here too, don't worry. But yes, that's the one that really scared a lot of guys because there are legal ways to set up your business, and it can be very simple or it can be more intense if you're going to a corporation. But I wanted to give you guys the options and to know what it was that you're getting into ahead of time and to be able to compare what those things were. So if somebody's talking to you about an LLC or DBA and EIN, I don't want you to think, oh my gosh, what are all these acronyms? What are they standing for? Now you know what they mean. Right? And now you're armed with, okay, I'm going to set up my business. Maybe I want to do it this way, maybe I want to do it that way. Day 9 was about paying your taxes. Listen, Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam wants his money. I'm not gonna lie. Taxes are not sexy. They're not cute. They're not fun, but it's a necessary part of doing business. So we talked to you about some strategies for ensuring that you have enough money to pay for your taxes. Include putting away 25 to 30% of any money that you actually get to your business right away, so that putting it into a separate account so that you have that money for your taxes. Now, I know that you guys will have a lot of questions about taxes. Don't worry, I got you covered. You're going to come back here on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time, where I'm going to be live again. I'm working through my technology issues, y'all. And I will have a guest with me. Ty will be with me, and Ty is our tax person. Okay. Hey, Val. So come back on Wednesday and we will talk more intently on taxes. Bring your tax questions. Don't bring your tax questions for this year, for filing your taxes this year. Bring your tax questions for your small business, and we're going to talk all through taxes on Wednesday. Okay, so write that down, put that on your phone, put it on your calendar on your phone, put a reminder someplace, and come back here on Wednesday, and we're going to talk taxes. Okay, so that, my friends, that was week 2. Now, this was the unsexy week, except for the day when we did websites. Because this is the stuff, like I mentioned when I went live the other day, that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about taxes. Nobody wants to talk about their business structure. Nobody wants to talk about the IRS. Nobody wants to talk about bookkeeping and what bank accounts you should have. Those are the things that nobody talks about when they're starting their business. They talk about their success, they talk about their struggle, etc. But nobody talks about this part of business, and it is a necessary part of setting up your business legally. Christina, you're submitting your articles of incorporation in the morning. Good for you, girl. I can't wait. That'll be another legal business being put on the map. So don't be intimidated by these subjects. I know that they're not easy. As I mentioned when I was live during the week, I've made some mistakes. I absolutely have made some costly mistakes, and I paid for them. And I don't want you guys to do the same thing. I also don't want you to be so intimidated that you're like, forget about it. I'm not doing this. No, forget it. This is not for me. Girl. Nope, nope, nope. I'm not doing it. No, that's not what I want you to feel. I want you to feel confident and empowered enough that you're going to, sit down, buckle down, and get this done. Because what you don't want to have happen is that you get a random tax bill, or you get a random tax collector knocking on your door, because guess who's had that happen? Because you made a mistake somewhere, and then it takes you forever to fix it. Okay, don't want that to happen to you, because been there, done that, and they don't even send you a shirt. All right, so now that we've done our recap, what questions do you have? I hope that you don't have too many questions, because we answered a lot of questions in the middle of the week. So feel free, if you've been holding on to a question, if you were unsure about something, even if you think it's a dumb question, go ahead and throw out your questions. I want to answer your questions because I know that you guys are sitting on them. When you go quiet in the group, I know that it's because you have questions that you're afraid to ask and that you're unsure about. So pop them in the chat and I will answer your questions right away, okay? So while you guys are typing up your questions, let me talk to you about the one sexy day that we had this week that you all seem to love. Websites. Okay, your websites. Some of you guys threw your websites out there while you're in the building process, and I was really enthusiastic to see what you guys are doing on your own without necessarily paying thousands of dollars for it. I saw that someone did a logo, had 3 logos made on Fiverr for $5, right? We talked about Fiverr a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really enjoying what you guys are doing. So just keep in mind that with your first website, do not expect it to appear like the Holy Grail. You just want to put something up there, have it be functional, have it cover what you need to cover. and it doesn't have to look like whiz bang everything, okay? Don't expect it to. I wish you guys could see. Actually, maybe I'll post the Wayback Machine, what my websites looked like when I first started. And I've rebuilt them a number of different times. So don't think that you just hop out there and your website is thebomb.com. It will not be, unless you have somebody that you're paying a lot of money to do it for you initially. And that's okay, right? All right, so let's see what we've got going on. Sandy, what's the process for a new business that didn't make any money and filing during tax time? This isn't me yet, but just curious for when I begin my business. So it's fine. If you didn't make any money, you're claiming what money you did bring in and what expenses you had. If you had a loss, good for you. I mean, not good for you, but you can't owe taxes on money that you lost, right? So for me, with my business structure, I carry that loss over. It reduces my taxes in other ways. So I'm okay with the loss. My business, my brick and mortar business, the first couple of years, I had a loss and it was fine. I paid my quarterly taxes, but at the end of the year, I had a loss once I put all my expenses in. It just meant that I got a good refund check back from the government for all the other taxes that I had paid. So no problem with a loss. It's okay. Do you have any tips for establishing pricing for services? Yes, Christina, I do. In fact, I dropped a video in the group specifically talking about pricing for your services. And coming up this week, I believe we talk about pricing. Let me take a look, because this is where we start getting into marketing and stuff like that, I think. But if you have questions right now, there is a video in the group that I dropped in. It's like 30 minutes, all about pricing, okay? So go ahead and search for pricing in the group, and you'll see that video. Otherwise, I'll drop a link. I'll do a recap under this event, and I'll drop a link to that video in the group, okay? I guess you've had your domain for a while. I think too much about how I want it to look. Yes, Chantel, that's where people get hung up. Here's what I think you should do. Throw your content up there and then work on your design afterwards. Because I find that even me, I'm never satisfied with my design. I'm still tweaking my own website. I change stuff every single day on my website. I'm updating this, that, and the other thing. Throw your content up there and then start working on your design. So depending on what service you're using, your content will stay the same and the look of your website might change. And that's why I love WordPress, because I could design my site 50 million different ways, but the words that I put up there are the same and they won't move unless I move them. So it makes things easy. Bridget, can you please explain what articles of incorporation is? Is it needed after registering with the state? So Bridget, if you file an LLC, an S Corp, or a C Corp, you have what's called articles of incorporation. Those are the documents that make you legally, officially, a separate entity than your business, and a specific corporate structure. LP does the same thing, or LLPs. And then you tend to have to publish the fact that there is a business in the newspaper or publicly somewhere, wherever the state tells you you've got to publish. So your articles of incorporation basically establishes your corporation, your business, when you have any of those four structures. If you're a sole proprietor or a partnership, you don't have to worry about that, especially if you have multiple people in the business. When you have any of those four entities, you really need to create, establish, and publish those articles of incorporation. And that's why I recommend that if you're doing this for the first time, if you're filing an LLC for the first time, or an S Corp, or C Corp, or an LP, or an LLP, that you try to use the service, because it can get easy for you to mess it up. I will not lie. It may, but this way you have established your business the correct way, okay? I signed up for Associate ID affiliate program for my Facebook page. I fill out the tax form. When do you file taxes on the commission received? I'm building Facebook page as a business. So you can file your taxes quarterly or annually, depending on your structure, depending on how much money you're getting. And it also depends on whether whoever you're an affiliate with is issuing you a 1099 at the end of the year, or if you're responsible for filing your own based on your own income. Chances are that when you're an affiliate at another company, they issue you a 1099. So that's when you file your taxes. So for me, for example, when I sell on Amazon, I know how much I'm buying and selling, so I can file my taxes on a quarterly basis. However, Amazon issues me a 1099 at the end of the year. So I tend to file my taxes at the end of the year because I'm getting a 1099 anyway, but I can file quarterly if I wanted to. So if you're an affiliate, you're usually getting a 1099. You probably have to fill out a form W-4, and they're going to issue a 1099 at the end of the year. Okay. Are you required to file taxes after registering a business, even if you haven't started operations? Bridget, it all depends. So if you have a business that you have registered, even if you haven't opened doors, if you registered for sales taxes in your state, then yeah, you got to file. Usually they want you to file quarterly and just say, we had 0 sales. And that's a mistake that I had made. So they assume I had sales, so they sent me a tax bill. And I was like, wait a minute, girl, wait a minute. I didn't sell nothing. And they're like, yeah, well, you got to file and say you didn't sell anything every quarter because you signed up for a sales tax ID. So we're just going to assume, based on the business that you're in, that you sold X amount when I didn't sell anything. At the end of the year, when you're filing your taxes for the IRS and stuff, yeah, you just file that you didn't have any sales, no activity, and you're good to go. It's really not complicated. Okay. Should we pay the $79.99 to get the address off of? Yes, you should, Catherine. That's called a private registration. Okay. And all of my sites are registered privately. Here's what happens if you don't register your site. This is when people are penny wise and pound foolish. When you don't register for private registration, anybody and everybody can see your name, your address, your phone number, etc. I had a friend who recently had somebody pop up at his parents' address. He published a book, and they loved the book so much they thought they could just pop up and have a conversation about the book. You want your home address, your phone number, and your name to be private. So yes, you're gonna get the site for 99 cents for the domain. Spend the $7.99 to register it privately. Trust and believe. You don't want people popping up at your house or dialing your phone number or emailing you even, because then your email address even becomes private as well. What happens is that GoDaddy then becomes the content team on your website, and they have like a generic email address that forwards to your real address. And so everything is private that way. So yes, spend the $7.99. I don't want people popping up at my house. And if they pop up at my house, my husband is not welcoming. So all of my sites are private, and I suggest you do the same thing. How can we get affiliate linked programs on our site for passive income? Sky. So you got to sign up with the affiliate programs that you like and you love. And once you're an affiliate of that program, then you use the link on your site however you want to. Some really big affiliate programs are Commission Junction, that's cj.com, Rakuten, that's RAKUTEN, ShareASale, I think, ShareASale.com. Those are like really big affiliate marketing programs. And if you have, individual sites, they have their own affiliate programs. Once you sign up as an affiliate and you're approved for each individual program, then you get an individual link that tracks clicks that come through, and then you're good to go and you earn money that way. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Miller. Pricing in day 19, closing the sale, getting paid. Thank you. I knew pricing was coming up because it's important that you get your money. Val, I skipped your question. I did. I'm sorry. No, Val, I got your affiliate question. I got you. If I'm a sole proprietor, LLC, that's also called a single member LLC, is it necessary to have articles of organization and operating agreement? You don't need an operating agreement because it's just you, but you always usually need your articles of incorporation. That's usually a state requirement. So Marsha, depending on your state, you might want to check with your state, but most states will require your articles of incorporation, even as a single member LLC. Both of my businesses are registered as single member LLCs, and I still needed articles of incorporation too. So Yep, you probably need them. At least in New York State, I did. I don't know, in your state, you might not. Since I'm sure I'll owe this year, should I continue to a SEP IRA instead of paying the IRS? Um, so Kiara, you want to know if you should contribute to your SEP, which is a self-employed individual retirement account, instead of paying the IRS. So yeah, contribute to your SEP IRA. And if you think you'll owe, the best advice I can give you is pay that money quarterly anyway. Get it out of your hands. Take our advice. Put 25 to 30% away right away and pay the man. Or, you know, pony up at the end of the year like I was going to have to write a check, but not anymore, and pay the man. But yeah, you should always be contributing to your SEP IRA anyway. It's reducing your income. And so it's always a good thing, regardless of whether you're making money or losing money. If you know that you're gonna owe money anyway, you better max out your SEP IRA. It'll reduce how much you owe. Is there a right or wrong way with filing quarterly versus yearly? No, there isn't a right or wrong way. But usually the government, when you hit a different thresholds, they'll want you to file quarterly because they find that businesses that file annually instead of quarterly, if you're making six figures or so, tend to get into trouble. If you're Joe Schmo, me and you, and you're making, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in a year, oftentimes they don't care. But if you're like 50, 60, 80, $100,000, they want their money quarterly. Now, if you're selling products, right, you've got to file your sales taxes quarterly. You don't have a choice. But with the IRS and, making your deposits quarterly for your own taxes, it's good practice if you're making a certain amount of money to do it quarterly, but you don't have to per se. At some point, they may write you and say, hey girl, hey, you made six figures last year. We're gonna need you to file this quarterly from now on. I've seen that happen, so that might happen to you, okay? Do you have to have good credit to open a business checking account? No, I sure didn't. I was in the 600 something when I opened my first business checking account. They didn't care because I wasn't in check systems. I never had a problem with my checking accounts, and I was going to pay the monthly fee for my checking account. And now I don't have a monthly fee for my checking account. So I've never had a problem. I have 3 business checking accounts. So I haven't had a problem. Sandy, can you type those affiliate links you're stating? Oh yeah, let me type those out. C.com, which is Commission Junction, and that is huge. CommissionJunction.com. ShareASale.com. There might be hyphens in there, so I might get it wrong. So ShareASale.com, and then there's Rakuten, RAKUTEN.com. Okay. Let me scroll back up. Do you have a list for wholesale suppliers? Jacqueline, I do in my Amazon class. So I give my Amazon students a whole list of wholesale suppliers, but it all depends on what you're buying. So here's my advice for those of you selling products. Everyone wants to go to AliExpress.com. Go to a trade show, okay? Go to a trade show, meet the suppliers, meet the marketers, get your hand on the products. If this is your first time having a product-based business, go to a trade show and find your suppliers that way, okay? All right. Do I have to go through the SBA for assistance with the Articles of Incorporation? No, you don't. You do not have to go through the SBA for assistance. If you need help, though, then you can definitely get help. And then there are a ton of other businesses that exist that actually they do that. I think it's bizfilings.com. There are a ton of different places that can help you with your entire start to finish filing your paperwork for your LLC if you'd like to, do an LLC or a corporation, any of the corporations. Okay. Bianca, I started a blog site this week and I want to sell t-shirts. Would it be easy to sell through my blog site or through Amazon? All right, Bianca. So some things you need to know about selling t-shirts on Amazon. Amazon has two platforms where you can sell your t-shirts. One is Merch by Amazon, which is still in beta form and takes a while for you to get in. You have to have Amazon's um, business seller account to get in. And chances are that if you just join Amazon and you sign up for the beta version of Merch, you're probably not going to get in. Probably not going to get in. Or if you do, it's going to take a couple months. If you sign up for for Amazon with a merchant account and you're trying to sell a t-shirt and you're new, you're probably not going to get it right away either, because Amazon puts restrictions on the clothing part of Amazon, because there are so many people who are knocking off clothing items. So that's one of the restricted products, one of the restricted categories on Amazon. So I love selling on a platform like Amazon because there's so many people who go on Amazon. When you have your own site, it takes a lot to drive traffic to your own site. Can it be done? Yes, it can. It's just a little bit harder. So I like the other platforms, but you just have to know what you're getting into and the fact that you may be waiting to be approved to be able to sell on their platforms, okay? If someone is currently working on getting their personal finance matters in order, should they hold off on starting a small business or continue working on it for the additional income? Great question, Jocelyn. So I can tell you what I did for me. I can tell you that my small business, launching my small business, is infinitely what helped my finances and has always helped my finances. I definitely had a stumble when I had my brick and mortar business, but I got smarter from that. And that's how I ended up selling 25,000 the first year on Amazon by mistake. And then going on to selling 25,000 a month in the holiday season as well, because I got smarter and I started my business very lean, because I really needed the money to help me pay down my debt and to help me survive. So if I tell you to wait to get your finances in order to start a business, I'd be very hypocritical, because I never did. I started my business, but I just didn't dump a ton of money into it. The great thing about starting your home business now is that I find that you can usually get your business up and running for only a couple $100 in most cases, depending on what it is that you're doing. And then you start making that extra money, and then you can put that towards your business. Sometimes you may have to just side hustle up that money, initially, or you make the extra money side hustling until you can dedicate it to your business. But, um, it's just, I can't tell you to wait until your finances are completely in order before you start your business. I'm just going to tell you to be smart about it. Do not spend your last penny starting a business when you have mouths to feed, okay? Or do not make mistakes starting your business that you can avoid if the math does not work. And the example I'll give is one my friend Letitia Stiles shared the other day about a woman who was working as a home health aide, and we all know they don't make a lot of money. She makes like $22,000 a year, and wanted to start side hustling a little Uber business. She decided to rent a car for $215 a week from Uber, and was hoping to get 75 rides a month. The average ride would have netted her $10 a ride. That's $750 a month. But if you did the math, $250 a week for a rental car is over $800 a month that she owes just for renting the car and getting 700 and change a month from Uber. Didn't make sense, right? So do the math. Don't go in debt trying to start a business. Do not do it. And if you have that money and it's earmarked to your debt, then pay attention to your debt, okay? Sky says you're side hustling until your business is ready to launch. I hear you. I don't blame you. Okay, the new boss. Just to clarify, for product sales, you have to pay taxes to the IRS quarterly or yearly and pay sales taxes quarterly to your state. Correct. Correct. So there are two people that you owe money to when you have products, right? There is the state. Your state gives you the authority to sell a product in their state and have your product-based business in their state. When you sell a product, every widget that you sell, every widget you're supposed to be collecting sales tax in that state. And every quarter they want you to remit the sales tax to them. Send me my sales tax money you've been collecting. On top of that, you have your income taxes, right? Your income taxes, you can file yearly or quarterly with the IRS. You make the deposits, right? And so, yeah, those are two separate things, but the state is going to be really aggressive about their money because they want their money every 3 months. They're going to want their money. You usually don't have a choice. Now, if you're lucky enough to live in a state that doesn't have a sales tax, you know, that's one less thing for you to worry about. Okay. Kim Renee, great answer about debt. Thank you. Debt's my first baby. I still help people and coach people about debt. I'm a personal finance blogger, a financial educator first and foremost, and I'm a businesswoman next. So I always have to caution people about their money and their debt before going into business, because one of my businesses left me in a humongous amount of debt, 6 figures of debt. So believe me when I tell you, been there, and I've made the mistakes, and I don't want you all to make the mistakes like I did. But at the same token, I can't tell you not to start your business, because I know that these days I can run my business on pennies on the dollar on a daily basis. My websites cost me, I have 4 websites. They cost me like $220 a year to run 4 websites. I can't complain. You know, I can make more money on one website in a month than it cost me a year to run 4 websites. So if you're really smart about your business, you can be very, very lean and bring in money that would help you pay your debt. So, you know, there's that. Goodness, any more questions? These 43 minutes have flown by. Let me tell you, you guys are good. I'm so happy that I jumped in earlier this week to answer questions for you all, because I'm so glad. I think you guys have the whole filing your business down pat, you know. Jacqueline, is my Amazon course open for new members? It is, but here's the thing. I want you to finish this intensive. This intensive is a good groundwork for whatever business you have, right? And get through the intensive, you know, kind of get that all in, let it all wash down, and then think about something else. I would prefer that you finish something before you start something else. Would love to have you, but I prefer you finish this class, get it all like absorbed in the brain, relax for a little bit, and then think about something else, okay? Sorry, was thirsty. I'm struggling between choosing WordPress and Wix. Any extra info to give? I've been thinking about this for months now. All right, Caliente Queen. I'm biased. All of my sites are on WordPress, but then I've been running WordPress sites for 7-8 years now. That's just me. I build WordPress sites. I love them. Wix is great when you're starting out. WordPress can be very complicated. I'm not going to lie, it can be very complicated. It can be intimidating if you don't know what you're doing. But it can also be pretty powerful as well. There's some big sites that are built on WordPress that you would never think were built on WordPress. And I just happen to love WordPress because I can change the look and feel of my site and it'll drop at a hat. And it doesn't cost much. And it doesn't take much time. But if I were just starting out, I might look at some place like Wix where it's cheap and it's easy, it's drag and drop, and it's simple. There's nothing wrong with starting out with like a Wix. And if you feel like anything else and you establish your business and you're going, then you can move on to something else. Don't vacillate between the two. Pick something and start, because that might be preventing you from, you know, really getting your business off the ground. You might hear it referred to as analysis paralysis. Don't let overthinking it stop you from moving. All right. Choose something. Do something. All right. Have you ever helped anyone with doing a restaurant that delivers locally? And the idea is how you set up deals with suppliers for food. I haven't, Sherry. The only person I've worked with for a food-based business, actually, I've worked with two people for food-based businesses. One was a friend who started baking cupcakes in her home. Now she's doing pretty well. She's still baking cupcakes in her home, but she does it on her own time. And she has a dedicated group of customers that she sells to. The other is my stepdad, who cooks and delivers food to people, also again from home. And his main suppliers are Restaurant Depot and BJ's Costco's, because he doesn't do that huge volume, right? He does a small volume in his retirement, and that's pretty much it. So I haven't worked with a restaurant per se. I would suggest, though, that every major city, you go through your food handler's license and you get that, right, to make sure that you're following the rules. And then every major city has those kinds of has the oh my gosh, mommy brain's such a real thing. Industry groups. Sorry. They have industry groups that you should probably belong to. And those industry groups and industry magazines would help you find the suppliers that you really could depend on and use for your restaurant business. And this applies to any kind of business, really. So if I were you, I would look at even the culinary institutes and things like that, because then they could probably point you in the right direction as well. Yeah, don't overthink it. You're welcome, Jocelyn. Now, here's the thing. I had to tell you guys, if you are emailing me, if you are inboxing me, my inbox is my kryptonite. I'm not going to lie to you, I have about 7,000 unread emails. I get a lot of email, a lot. My VA's job, one of her main jobs is to help me cut down my email because I can't do it. And I am horrible at Facebook message. I think I must have like 25 or 30 pending right now. I get to them, but I can't promise you that I get to them right away. I'm not good at that. So if you inbox me, no promises. I'm gonna try. Am I having a virtual baby shower? I'm not. My cousin keeps bothering me about a baby shower. I'm just kind of nesting until I could get back on this treadmill and get back on that Bowflex. That's pretty much it. I want to start my virtual assistant agency and run a virtual assistant academy. How do I set those businesses up? Tikwa, good question, because VAs have been golden for me. I find out my VAs on Upwork.com. I would say this, it is very, very cutthroat business these days. And I think you should probably be very, very, very narrowly focused if you're running an agency and a business for virtual assistants, because people are looking for people with certain skills and not just this broad like VA per se, because you could find those a dime a dozen. If you have people who specialize in something to be a virtual assistant, that's where the money is. Excuse me. So I had a friend the other day who was looking for a virtual assistant who was specific on personal finance and could help with the marketing and stuff for his personal finance business, because you kind of have to know some nuances. If you're going to set up a virtual assistant business, I think that you need to be very, very, very focused so that you can compete. Now, what you're really going to need is marketing, more marketing than not, and how you attract your talent. So we'll talk about marketing next week in the intensive, but that's where you're really going to have a hard time competing and having people finding your VAs. But if you are specialized, that's where you can really, really, really have some competition in the market. Jacqueline, what's the easiest way to join? To join what? My Amazon class? If you go to yesmg.com, click on courses, you'll see my Amazon class. Sky Rebel, I may need some assistance from Upwork. Upwork has been my godsend. I found all my virtual help from Upwork. I love them, and I've had my virtual assistants for years now. Love them. Major restaurant suppliers have minimum order requirements. I have a degree in culinary, work for restaurants and major stores, also help start a family restaurant. So Sweet Caramel Smile can help you out there with your restaurant business. And so, yeah, so this is why the two people who I work with who are smaller tended to buy from like their wholesale clubs because they could not meet the minimum order quantities because they just weren't selling that much, right? So yeah, they were able to get into the restaurant depots to get all their pots and pans and things like that. But when it came to, I need to order a side of beef, no, they weren't ordering a whole side of beef. They weren't. So for them, working with the wholesale clubs really worked out for them. And then they just priced accordingly. And their customers didn't mind because they realized that they were getting, small batch, small quantity products. So they were okay. Hey, Ruth, thanks for joining. What's the website for my Amazon class? My site is yesiamcheap.com. Click on classes up top right, and it'll take you to some of my classes. Is it difficult to create a bilingual website? No. Create it in the language that you want. And you just like you have special keyboards for different languages, or the keyboards are different, then keep going. You can have sometimes there's some issues with, depending on what site you're working with and what builder you're working with, have issues with it. Gosh, so bad, the mommy brain. Recognizing, I forgot the word recognizing. How embarrassing is that? With the sites recognizing special characters. So if you know your alt codes and things like that, then that's definitely helpful. But my friend who runs a Spanish language personal finance site has no issues. He just uses the keyboard. He has a special keyboard so he's got his tildes and stuff like that on his enye and whatever, and he's good to go. But think about it. There are websites the entire world around in totally different languages, right? Because we tend to think about English as being like the main language on the web. No, there are Chinese websites, there are Japanese websites, there's Spanish, there's Arabic. Every language you can think about is on the web. So just make sure your keyboards are equipped for that, and you can, you know what you're typing through, and that your website builder accepts special characters, and you're good to go. All right. So we are hitting just about on an hour here. I'm so glad that you guys joined me. Let me tell you what you're up for next week if you have not yet looked at your intensive, because this is where we go back to some of the nice, fun stuff. On day 15, we talk social media marketing. Yes, it is a party with social media marketing. Then on day 16, we talk about Facebook ads and Facebook pages. Don't sleep on Facebook. Facebook is not just the group that you're in. Facebook is super powerful, and for pennies on the dollar, you can actually make some real money. And I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about how my little $5 Facebook ad turned into thousands of dollars in sales in December. Really. Then we're going to talk about email marketing and email subscriptions, because email is gold. People sleep on the fact that their email address is worth, in some cases, can be hundreds of dollars to the person who's marketing to them. And the mistake that I made my first 5-6 years in business was that I didn't care about signing up people's email addresses. Man, have I made a mistake. And I don't want you to do the same thing. Then we're talking about old marketing and new marketing. New marketing like video and old marketing like business cards. I got a box of business cards here. And let me tell you, business cards still work. Don't be fooled. Business cards still work. But we're going to talk about that, and we'll have fun. This is like the marketing and getting your money together kind of week, okay? Day 19, we're going to talk about closing the sale and getting your money, because it's really important that you get your coins together. On day 20, you can review the entire week because we'll be going pretty fast paced. I know that you still have a lot of questions about marketing. I know that you will, because this is the fun stuff, but it's not necessarily that easy. You get to relax for a day, and then we close out on the next day with a talk about perfection. Those of you guys who want your websites to be super perfect, and I can't do it until everything's awesome. We're going to talk about perfection and analysis paralysis, because man, that's going to get you, that can keep you guys from starting. And I had the same issue, this strive for perfection. Every I's got to be dotted, every T, hair's got to be done, makeup done. There was a time when I would not appear on video without makeup on fleek, without hair freshly did. Yeah, I don't have that problem anymore. So we're going to be talking all those lovely, sexy things next week. And I want you guys to join me as well on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Don't forget, with Ty, our tax person, where we're going to talk about the non-sexy taxes, right? And I know that you guys are going to hate it, but I know that you're going to love it, because man, it's so important. And Ty is super cool, super relatable, and she's gonna get all your questions together, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was so intimidated by this, and I don't have to be. All right. So put it on your calendar right now. Yes, Sky Rebel, put it on your calendar, because I did tell you guys, I had taxmen at my door, right? Yes, I've had tax people come to my actual, on the door. Woo, you better, the horror stories, and I'll share my $10,000 tax bill story with you guys as well. Sorry, it's funny, but it's not funny. It is kind of funny though. So I laugh about it now, but back then I was not laughing about it. So thank you for joining me for week 2's recap. And I want to make sure that you guys, if you have any questions, tag me in the group. There is a thread every single day. What is going on with there's a thread every single day. And if you don't know what you're doing, you have any questions, especially coming up this week, where we're going to be going pretty fast through all the marketing things, make sure you tag me, because I'm in the group every single day. It is 9 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Thank you all for joining me so much. I really appreciate you taking your time with me. I'm going to leave you with Diva and Beyonce, because you all are divas, and a diva is a female version of a hustler. I know, I'm so unorthodox. Have a great night, guys. Bye. I told you, give me a minute and I'll be right back.